All right, I just wanted to give you a quick over-the-shoulder view of how I use this prompt and kind of the thought process behind it, just so you can kind of get an idea of how you might be able to use it for whatever you're working on. And yeah, so right now we have, this is the thread, and you can see here's the prompt up here. But before we go through the thread, I just want to give you a little bit of context. I've been using ChatGPT for a couple of years now, more and more as time goes by. But one thing I utilized is this, there's a feature called projects inside of ChatGPT. And what they are is here, you just kind of create little folders. And inside this folder, you can train the AI on your information. So this is, I give it some instructions. So this is just going to kind of, instead of starting from scratch every time you enter a prompt by having to educate the AI on, whatever it is you're trying to work on, you can just give it all that information up front. And that's what these projects do. And you can see here, you can put some project file information in there. So I have information about my audience, my brand voice. I've got a writer profile. I've got more information about individual audiences, personas that I'm targeting, business profile, which has like my goals and, everything I'm trying to do. So it already has context outside of, what the new feature, the whole memory feature that they just released. So basically we're just kind of narrowing everything down. So it just makes it more helpful because it just knows more about me and it knows what I'm trying to do. So if we go back to the prompt, and I don't know why it took me all the way to the bottom, but if we start up here, you see we get the prompt, and these are the results, right? So you've given me full permission to call it like I see it. That's kind of one of the things about the prompt is AI generally wants to try to please you, or at least that's what people are seeing, and I see it a lot too. It's like you're never wrong. So one of the great things about this prompt is that it kind of makes it so that it's honest, right? The brutally honest aspect of it, because you don't want it to just be agreeable all the time, because it's not necessarily going to help. So it's did that. So based on your deep history, your patterns are sharp, strategic, et cetera, right? And then it spit out, you've already seen these. I gave you some abbreviated versions of these in the blog post, but you can see it just spit all this stuff out. And once I got done, I was just like, wow, I was reading this and I'm thinking, you know what, let's create a plan to meet my potential by addressing these starting points that are a combination, blah, 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 right? And my criteria was, I wanted to kind of rank it by, or prioritize it by, lowest hanging fruit, most valuable, most important, that kind of thing, right? So then it started laying all that stuff out. It gave me different phases and some ideas of how we could do that. And then I eventually got to a point where it asked me, hey, would you like to create a Notion document? Again, this goes back to it knowing that I use Notion and then I use Google Sheets. So it asked me if I wanted to, create some documents for that, which I did. So I eventually went through the process here. I'm like, hey, build a Notion workspace, and I had to kind of play with it a little bit. It wasn't perfect, but eventually it started spitting out some information, which I'm going to show you right now. So this is the plan that it spit out. I did some of this myself, but you can see these sections, this whole entire document, you can see over here in the files, it gave me all of this stuff, or most of it. Some of these references I added later, but you can see it gave me a whole content calendar. We're actually on this one right now, and you can see behind by a couple of days. I was supposed to release this earlier this week, but whatever, too many things going on. But you can see it gave me some ideas like, okay, here's the blog post you can run. Here is Facebook and a LinkedIn post that you can run along with it. So all this stuff kind of supports the same goal, right? So I'm just going to go down the line and I'm going to start creating this stuff. So that gave me, it's super handy. Other stuff, it's got execution plan, a reflection journal, scorecard. I don't know how much I'm going to use this stuff, but either way, I have it and it's pretty cool. So anyway, got a little long with that video, but I hope that kind of gives you some ideas of how you can use it for, whatever your business, any project you're working on, really. There's so many ways you can use this Meta Coach. And if you like this video stuff, let me know. There should be a comment section right below this video. Just let me know if you like the video stuff, because I can do more of that in the future if you want information on something. And yeah, so there you go. Thanks for watching. keep reading the rest of the post. Talk to you later.